shelter immediately. Sam, are you okay?
I'm fine. You guys?
The facility's intact, but the research lab might have taken a hit. The local chiralium levels appear to be rising. Better hurry over there, Sam. Head to the delivery terminal upstairs and check their order.
But the chiral density is higher than anticipated. This may be due to the gatequake just now, but we've identified a new BT area in the vicinity of the lab. However, we have no BB pods on hand. I know you've got dooms, but without a pod, you're gonna struggle to determine exactly where the BTs are.
Don't worry. If I can get close enough, I should be able to see them. Seems like my dooms level or whatever went up at some point. Steer me in the right direction. I can take care of the rest.
Oh yeah? That's awesome. By the way, we finished a preliminary assessment of the BTs detected in the vicinity of the research lab. And we've prepared some weapons that should be effective against them. You're a pro. I know you can handle this. We've issued you a number of blood grenades. They use an active agent based on compounds derived from the blood and bodily fluids of doom sufferers, making them highly effective against BTs. You can practice using them in VR training. If you'd like to try them out, just access the delivery terminal to get started. Your other weapons won't do any damage to BTs. Shoot them all you like. They won't die. Make sure you're well prepared. According to our initial survey, you can expect to encounter gazers in the field. If you make contact with a gazer, then another type of BT, a hunter will emerge from the tar and try to capture you. If they succeed in this, you'll come face to face with a massive BT known as a catcher. Now, you don't want to ever let a catcher consume you. It'll trigger a void out, obliterating the surrounding area and everyone in it. And when the dust settles, there'll only be a giant crater. So make sure to escape the catcher before that happens, or use the weapons at your disposal to eliminate it. All right, go ahead and pick up your next main order. I'll brief you on the details while you check your map.
Order accepted. Thank you.
Sign detected nearby. Disengaging weapons restrictions.
Take care, Sam.
Please deliver your cargo to the research lab. You are too far away from your cargo.
we go. Get out of my way.
Security measures lifted. Weapons detected. Be advised that usage is restricted inside facility grounds.
Access the delivery.
Long time no see, Sam. Though, having said that, I realize you probably don't recognize me like... Anyway, why don't you let me take a look at your orders? We're ready for you to link us up with your Cupid. Once you do, you'll have fulfilled your objective of bringing the entirety of Mexico onto the chiral network. So, Sam, don't suppose you remember who I am? The name's Alex. I used to work at the weather station back in the UCA. I was a Bridges employee, reporting directly to Deadman. So, when I was offered the opportunity to collaborate with him here, studying the Death Stranding and BTs, I jumped at the chance, and here I am. And now, you're here too. You actually couldn't have come at a better time. Shortly before your arrival, chiral density levels started to climb, hitting significantly higher ranges than before. This kind of spike is indicative of an imminent giant BT appearance. I've shared with you some MP bullets that should be very effective against BTs. Because if a giant BT is on the way, then we're gonna need you to put it down. Well, the delivery you were kind enough to bring us contained a shipment of MP bullets that have anti-BT properties. This ammunition will turn your average assault rifle into a BT killing machine. You can also fabricate blood grenades if you want to keep a few on hand. Before you head back out, review your options and requisition any weapons you think you might need. We've set aside a ton of extra materials just for this purpose. Chiral density levels in this region have been fluctuating wildly. We've been seeing a lot of gatequakes and seismic activity as well. It's almost certainly related to recent shifts in the tar currents. Our analysis of these anomalies has led us to believe that the arrival of a giant BT is all but imminent. What the data doesn't tell us is exactly where it might appear. Our chiral monitoring equipment just wasn't precise enough to zero in. Now that you've connected us to the network, though, we should be able to make more accurate predictions. We seriously owe you. It's hard to know when this giant BT is going to appear. So for now, you should rest up in your private room and prepare for a potential fight. That's both mine and Deadman's recommendation. We'll keep you posted, Sam.
It's been too long, Sam. You were a good friend to me. One I could never forget. Which is why I took steps to ensure that this message would only play upon your arrival. The sensors were set to scan for your biometric data. A simple enough trick. Now, this was originally a geophysics laboratory established for the study of earthquakes. And for that reason, it holds a wealth of documentation on gatequakes, tar currents, and placates. As well, I discovered, as research data on the other side. Now, what I'm about to tell you, I learned after I came to this place. Imagine that this is the lab. Though it's relatively close to the northern tip of South America, the continent is entirely cut off from us by a tar belt. And so we have no idea what's going on down there. Nor do we know the state of any continent other than our own. The researchers here were trying to establish contact with the rest of the world. They were well equipped to do so, as the facility had once been used to launch research satellites. So they tried launching a variety of probes and drones in the hope of obtaining observational data, with no success. The Earth, you see, is shrouded in a thick layer of chiralium that renders electronics inoperable at altitude. So they tried sending ships across the ocean. Oh, yes. Oh, but that failed too. The high concentration of chiralium in open water proved too corrosive, invariably causing them to sink. But then the researchers found some rather rare birds on their doorsteps. Birds not native to the region. Nice birdie, nice birdie. And that, my friend, was just the beginning. Not far from the lab, they discovered a strange anomaly. Well, the surrounding area was heavily contaminated with chiralium. Yes. This is beautiful. The researchers would later dub the anomaly a plate gate. But further investigation revealed that it came into existence when you began to expand the chiral network across North America, and that the gate grew larger in tandem with the network itself. What started as a tiny fissure in space became so much more. The researchers duly installed cameras to study the gate and its surrounding area. Now, to their surprise, they caught footage of some unusual marsupials. Yes, the kind you wouldn't expect to normally encounter in Central America, like the birds. But to confirm their suspicions, they sent an autonomous robot through the gate. The soil samples it collected were consistent with the archived geological data from the Southern Hemisphere. Not long after, several men and women came through the gate. They spoke English, and they confirmed that they had indeed come from faraway Australia. We finally knew the world outside North and Central America had survived. Ours was not the last bastion of humanity, but Australia had suffered the Death Stranding too. Undeterred, the researchers began working closely with Bridges and conducted a series of tests, paving the way for an expedition to Australia that would lay the groundwork for chiral network expansion. After they had first installed surveillance equipment, that is, so that the gate could be monitored from the Mexican side, a necessity to this day as Australia is not yet connected to the chiral network. The UCA may not have dreams of conquest and control, but they aren't about to let just anyone use the gate. Indeed, that's one of the reasons they were so determined to connect Australia to the network in the first place. Well, I suppose that's all I have to say about the plate gate. There's something else that I need to tell you, though. Something far more important. Mind if I pause it here? I have to go take a shower.
Gate quake detected. Sam, a gigantic BT just showed up outside. We're prepping weapons for you now. Access the terminal up top and take whatever you need. We're counting on you.
Manifestation imminent. Access the delivery terminal to make preparations for combat.
Sam, this is Alex. You did it! We've confirmed the chiral crystallization of the giant BT. Local chiral density is already dropping fast. I think we can all rest easy for now. You've saved a lot of lives by killing that monstrosity. We won't forget that. Head to the research lab's private room and take a break. You've earned it. Hey, Sam. I've been waiting for you. I gotta say, Sam, you're looking pretty beat. You know you can borrow the private room whenever you want, right? Don't kill yourself for our sakes.